What is up? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to Mobility Flow. Today we're doing an ankle and foot focused mobility flow. Mobility combines elements of flexibility with strength. So rather than just forcing your body to the ends of its ranges of motion, we're actively controlling that range of motion so that the improvements we make here better translate to the workouts or activities we do in our everyday life. The reason I love focusing on foot and ankle mobility is because they're so often overlooked, but your feet and ankles are used for anything from standing to squatting to running. So many activities as part of our everyday life that you will see improvements in by focusing on this. All right, roundabout way of saying ankle and foot mobility can be a good time, very important. So if you're ready to get started, make sure to shoot me a thumbs up. Let's get into it. Getting into today's workout, one exercise will flow into the next. We have plenty of time on each exercise, so don't worry if it takes you a couple seconds to get into position. As long as you are doing your best to keep up with me, you're keeping it moving. That is what's key. I will give us a brief pause between larger transitions so that we have time to get into the new position, but other than that, I will count you in when we get to 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Starting things at center mat, making sure that we have a good amount of space behind us. We're going to start by shifting our weight to the left leg and taking a step back with the right leg. Stepping back, planting the toe first, and then rolling the foot down until it is resting flat on the ground, feeling the stretch through that back calf. If you need to adjust your foot forward to get it flat, do that now. And when you're ready, I want you to bend the back knee as we peel the foot off the ground, starting at the heel, really feeling the stretch through the big toe of the back foot. Straightening the leg, rolling the foot back to flat before stepping it forward and repeating on the other side. So this time, stepping back with the left leg, rolling the foot down onto the ground until we reach flat, adjusting your foot forward if you need to so you can get that foot fully flat. Then when you're ready, let's bend at the knee and peel that foot off the ground, starting at the heel, keeping your weight back so you can really feel this stretch through the big toe of that back foot. Rolling the foot back down as we stand up, coming back to standing. Let's repeat again on each side, a little bit quicker this time. Dropping the knee, shifting the emphasis down to that big toe. Straightening the leg as we roll the foot down. Back to standing, one more on the left side with me. Rolling the foot, bending the knee, rolling back up, and coming to standing. From here, let's take it back to center mat, widen our stance so our feet are about hip width apart. We are going to keep the chest tall, drop into a squat. Plant the hands forward, and then again we're going to peel the feet off the ground starting from the heel. As you come forward onto the toe, tap the knees to the ground, and then roll the foot as slow as you can back onto the ground, coming to that deep squat, standing it up, and repeating with me. Working to really stay heavy through that foot, through that ankle. Get that knee as far forward as you can, really flexing that ankle as far as you can before you start peeling the foot off the ground and coming forward to that knee tap. All right, we've now got 15 seconds to get into our next position. We are going to be on our hands and knees. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Make sure that you're about center mat, so you have some room in front of and behind you. Starting with your feet pointed, what I'd like you to do is rock your weight back. So we're going to lift our hands off the ground, rock our weight back, lifting the knees if you can. Bring it back to hands and knees. Flexing the toes, planting them on the ground, rocking it back. You don't need to put your hands behind you, just sit your weight onto your feet so you do feel a stretch through the toe and foot. Bring it back to hands and knees. Point the toes and repeat, alternating between point and flexed rocks, making sure that you're staying within your range and what's comfortable for you, what you can control, and what allows you a nice stretch through those feet, but nothing that takes you to the point of pain or discomfort. From there, I want you to do is plant the hands again. Let's flex those toes under, and we're going to push back to a loaded bear. So what that means is hover the knees off the ground, push the hands forward. We are now in loaded bear. From here, I want you to straighten your legs, come up to down dog. It's okay if your legs aren't quite straight, but we basically want to go from a more foot stretch to a more calf stretch. Drop the knees back down, really staying heavy on your feet, feeling that stretch all the way to the big toe. Straightening again, shifting the emphasis to more of your calf. Bending and straightening. And don't worry if we're not getting those knees straight. This is not about your upper thigh muscles, this is not about your hips. This flow is dedicated to the feet and ankles, so that's what I want you to stay focused on. Give me a couple more here. Coming back down to your hands and knees, so hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Let's start with those toes pointed. What we're going to do is pushing into the tops of your feet, pulling your belly button to your spine and lifting your knees off the ground. Come up for a brief hold. Put the knees back down. Flex the toes. Press those toes into the ground as we pull the belly button up toward the spine. Coming up for a brief hold. Alternating between pointed and flexed, making sure that we're taking a moment to stabilize in that bear plank position. Again, flexing those toes under. We're going to load it up to a loaded bear. So pushing your hands forward, rocking your weight back. I want you to lift the hips into a down dog, but this time we're going to walk the dog. So that means straighten one leg while bending the other. Straighten one leg while bending the other. So the leg that is straight, I really want you to focus on feeling this through the calf, even all the way up to the back of the knee. Let's bend the knees and bring it back to loaded bear. Let's extend back up to down dog. Bend one leg while straightening the other. Bend one leg while straightening the other. And I do want you to challenge yourself to actually fully straighten that leg if you can, as that's going to really help us stretch the calf here. Back down to loaded bear. Pressing up to down dog. Bending one leg while straightening the other. Bending one leg while straightening the other. Back down to loaded bear. From here, we have 15 seconds to transition into our next position. So we're going to go into a split kneeling position. What that means is one leg up, slightly to the front, the other leg back, or slightly to the side, whatever lets you feel stable. From here, I want you to shift your weight forward into that front leg as we work to find what the end of your range of motion is for ankle flexion. Okay, so shift your weight as far forward as you can. Let's see how low we can get before that heel starts coming up. If you want, put your hands on your knee. Okay, once we've found that spot where our heel just starts to lift, but we can still keep it on the ground, I want you to just come back up here. And now we're gonna turn this into an active stretch. So on the way down, I want you to visualize pulling your toes to the ceiling, also contracting those front of shin muscles. Then when we reach the bottom of our range, I want you to push your toes into the ground as if you're trying to squeeze the ground and push back up. So lift the toes to the ceiling as we contract through the front of the shin, coming all the way down in our range of motion. Then push the toes into the ground as we come back up. Drop down one more time for me. Okay, switching sides, same position, but with the right leg in front. Find the bottom of your range for me. Dropping your hands if you need to. From here, what we're going to do is push the toes into the ground to raise back up. Pull the toes towards the ceiling to help us contract those front of shin muscles on the way down. Making sure that heel stays on the ground, pushing the toes into the ground to come back up. Pulling the toes towards the ceiling to lower back down. Really making sure we're using that as a cue to help us engage those front of shin muscles. Pushing the toes into the ground. Lifting the toes toward the ceiling. What I like to think of as I'm pushing the toes into the ground is thinking my toes like a claw, or I'm trying to like claw at the ground, dig at the ground. That's much pressure I want you to be using as we push back up. Finish this rep out strong with me. All right, now come to center mat. We're gonna put this all together. Getting into a deep squat, so both legs this time. Feet about hip width apart, slightly turned out. Whatever is comfortable for you. Arms forward. Let's find the end range of our mobility of ankle flexion here. Okay, from there, both feet. Pressing the toes into the ground to rock back. Pulling the toes towards the ceiling to get forward. As far as we can, pull, 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 pull those toes up. Push them into the ground to rock back. All right, so pull, pull, pull the toes up. Really feeling that through your front of shin muscles. And then pushing the ground to rock back. It's a very short range of motion, but this is gonna help you build active control with your ankle flexion and mobility. Give me one more here. Pull, 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 sinking as far as you can before pushing back up. All right, so that is it for today's quickie ankle mobility workout. I hope you enjoyed this workout. Making ankle mobility a priority in my training has been game-changing for basically every squat variation, whether you're doing something more advanced like a skater or a pistol squat, or even if you're just starting out with something like a goblet squat. It has allowed me to improve my form, to improve my efficiency of movement. It has helped me avoid shin splints with running, so I can't recommend these workouts enough. If it's something you struggle with, feel free to do it more than once a week. Feel free to tack it on and get a little bit of extra time in your day. It's just 10 minutes and it does make such a difference. All right, so thank you so much for working out with me, and I can't wait for our next workout together.